Even though he's only been on the job for about 3 months, the Manitowoc Public School District Superintendent Jim Feil is looking to make a big impact. The district recently released some statistics regarding their financials, enrollment, and the results of an employee survey. Some of the numbers were rather concerning, so we spent all week breaking them down. In part one, we started with the financials, specifically the revelation that the Manitowoc Public School District makes the least amount of revenue per student in the county. Reedsville makes the most at $17,500 a student. Manitowoc comes in at $14,000 per student. We asked the superintendent what's contributing to that.
I believe that there's probably a couple component parts, but I'm digging deep to try to digest this. This is kind of what I walked into.
Feil may be new to Manitowoc, but he does have a lot of experience in running school districts. He told us he's been in districts that were low-funded and those that were well-funded.
So when I'm looking at here, then, I'm recognizing this is part of what the state has structured, where I believe we're disadvantaged, and I have to learn more about that in terms of how to advocate for a better system. And then some of that is how much we ask the community. But anytime I make an ask for the community, I'd obviously want to be able to demonstrate what we're doing and why that's important.
As for how the MPSD can move forward, Feil said it will have to be a collaborative effort with the community.
I'm only obviously immediately picking up where are we at and how do we compare and help the community understand that, and then start working together in terms of, okay, what does this mean to us?
Superintendent Feil told us he is a firm believer that strong schools build strong communities and strong communities build strong schools. He also said he is looking forward to helping Manitowoc become a destination not only for the beauty of the area, but also for having that strong school system. In part two, we took a look at how the MPSD fared on their district accountability report card. As you can see on the graph on screen, the information is portrayed on a scatter plot with the y-axis, the up and down axis, showing the amount of money in a district makes per student. The x-axis shows the overall score for that district. The MPSD is right there in the lower left quadrant. They're $14,000 a student below the state average. Their accountability score of just under 60, also below the state average. Superintendent Jim Feil says that typically you see a correlation between income per student and their performance.
The ideal situation, or the one that I would want to benchmark to in terms of setting as a standard, is the one in the bottom right column, getting the greatest return on the resources provided, where you don't have to be a rich district to accomplish great things.
One issue you may have noticed on that scatter plot, that districts that are spending more per student aren't necessarily getting the results they should be. Now, speaking about the MPSD, they are technically meeting expectations as they're performing as well as the state expects them to based on income, but Feil said that's not good enough.
We all have to understand that no state wants to necessarily look bad. They all want to grow and to improve. But the state report card, kind of has us where it's not where we want to be.
Now, the best way to better the MPSD's score without necessarily going higher on that scatter plot, getting more money, is by focusing on education, especially at the lower grade levels, according to Jim Feil.
You learn to read through grade 3, and then you read to learn after that, because now you're equipped to study curriculum, and including math. You really do have to be able to read and comprehend.
He did mention reading specifically because that's one of the big problem areas in schools today.
You would see this across the state and across the country. We have low reading scores, and they need to be significantly higher. And I think that this is not a teacher issue, it's a curriculum issue.
But how bad is it? Feil revealed these shocking numbers.
When I asked people, what would you expect then? Well, they would 95%, 100%. We're at 25%.
He then made it explicitly clear this is not a teacher issue.
I can match our teachers to any teachers. It's what we equip them with.
So the state is looking over their reading curriculum, which Feil said cannot happen fast enough.
I wish we could have done it 3-4 years ago that we recognized this, because that's when some did. We actually took on math and changed our math curriculum, through the elementary schools, and we're already now producing some significant results.
Feil, with the Board of Education's approval, is working on beginning implementing a new curriculum, which is already in place at other schools throughout the country, both at Manitowoc Elementary and middle schools here. Feil said he believes with this program, known as Success for All, the whole school model is going to move faster. Another thing the Manitowoc Public School District did try to improve was asking staff members one simple question. Do you feel your building's behavior plan is working? The results, very definitive actually. Just shy of 9% of respondents said it was, 21.8% were unsure, and a massive 69.3% said no, it is not working. Feil put it bluntly, saying it's a problem.
Sometimes you see that you're working towards good things, but you aren't necessarily paying attention. Things you don't pay attention to then sometimes can go right. And my sense was something was happening here. We weren't paying attention.
The district also asked staff who had left whether it was due to retirement, finding a new job, or simply leaving the education profession, why they left. Of the 37 people surveyed, 15% cited safety concerns. While there is a mental health aspect to it, Feil said that most of it would be physical safety. He told us he is reiterating to principals in his schools that he has a zero tolerance for fighting.
Does that happen? Yes, but not routinely. But again, if we aren't paying attention and we're allowing things to advance and to get out of hand, eventually you have fights and more fights. We can stop that, and we will. And I think we're already taking steps to do that.
The student behavior issue is one that's been on the minds of staff members for quite some time, and the push towards fixing it actually started before Feil came to town.
We had teachers and administrators, retired teachers, who came back 6 months ago to say, we need to do something about this. We're capable about being better. We recognize we didn't even have a student code of conduct in place. They volunteered their time every week to come together to study this issue.
Both surveys were conducted last school year, so we asked Feil if he believes that the responses would be different this year. He said they, quote, most definitely would shift in a positive direction.
I don't think we're done. Okay, I still think this needs time. People need to get in routines. They need to make sure that we're consistent in expectations. We have to be monitoring and reporting. We've already started some survey work. We'll continue to do more.
That being said, Feil said they simply need, quote, more data to be able to tell how well we are doing. As far as enrollment is concerned, over the past 6 years, the Manitowoc Public School District has seen a decline in the number of students enrolled. While the drop-off isn't dramatic, it is still concerning. In 2016, there were 5,130 students enrolled in the MPSD, and as of last year, there was only 4,760. That's a decline of 370 students, or a 7% dip over that time frame. Now let's put all this into comparison, shall we? Roncalli Catholic Schools, we reached out to them. They saw a rise of 67 students over the past 3 years. In 2020, there were 675 students enrolled in the elementary, middle, and high schools. This year's number jumped to 742, which is a 5% increase. Manitowoc Lutheran, meanwhile, saw a 9% jump in enrollment since 2018. They had 205 students that year compared to 225 this year. We spoke with Pastor Norv Koch, the president of the school, and he said their freshman class this year is the largest at Lutheran High, and that he expects next year's number to be even higher. We also reached out to the Valdez School District, which admittedly remained relatively even over the past 3 years. They had 969 students in the 2020 to 2021 school year and 990 the next year, but then dipped back down to 967 this year. Manitowoc Superintendent Jim Feil says he is a firm believer that the pilot program we just talked about will improve student scores and thus will bring more students in. But it's about more than just that.
It's really, how do we test ourselves? How do we keep ourselves accountable? How do we report things out? I know this system that I have suggested and that we're moving towards the potential of adoption could get us there with a great tracking system, to be able to track our progress. That's going to tell us, well, how well are we tracking on the other end?
All right, now we went through all these enrollment numbers, but why are they so important? We asked that to Superintendent Feil.
Size makes a difference because you can leverage more. The more efficient and effective you have a little bit more resource. That obviously opens up all kinds of opportunities.
One way the district is actually looking to improve enrollment numbers is through their strategic planning process, which is going on right now. Feil said this process will help the public feel more involved.
And so we're again wanting to make sure that all stakeholders feel that this is their school system, and they have an opportunity to have their voices heard and to become involved and to learn and to grow with us and to really help us.
As for what he wants moving forward, Jim put it bluntly.
I don't want to just be above average. And it's more than what I want. It's what I know that can happen here. Best in state. Best in state. no question, we can be best in state.
Now, what does the future hold for the Manitowoc Public School District? I'm not a mind reader. Can't tell the future. I don't know this. But what I can tell you is that work is being done to improve the Manitowoc Public School District from within, and hopefully things will improve in the near future. I'm Ryan Brahm reporting for Seehafer News.